Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawada from GMS St. Petersburg, Florida, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto YAHAWAH, BAHASHIM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHIM, RAHAKODASH. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here lesson, briefly dealing with, the common controversy, about Edom, Japhet, and Babylon. Now, obviously, the majority of the people that's talking about this, this is not even for them. First of all, this is for, these Edomites are saying this, and 2/3 of our own people are just not even other nations, just basically Esau and 2/3 of our people. 2/3 of our people are basically still stuck on Esau's titty. Like they say, though hand join in hand, the enemy shall not go unpunished. You want to go walking around with these damn Edomites and following after their philosophies and the things that they talking about, you might as well go right down with them. It's just like, like Jake, you got a homie situation. Hey, bro, look, listen, you go over there and you go to the back door, you knock on the door, you ask for Chris, and they gonna hook you up. You know what I'm saying? But then you don't want to believe it. You know what I'm saying? Now you coming back to the block, you be like, damn, how you got that? And I ain't got, bro, I told you how to get it. You didn't want to believe me. You wanted to listen to everybody else saying that they didn't have it. All you had to do was listen to what I told you. You go over there, check it out for yourself, and you'll see. But you want to listen to the heathen, the ones that's trying to keep you back away from the things, trying to so-called prosper, more or less to say, you want to keep leaning onto their understanding, and you got to understand that, their power comes from keeping you in captivity and up under you, It's like, let's say you worked at, Coca-Cola or some shit like that, right? And, Coca-Cola or whoever, they, the employees there, they know how to make the formula and everything. They know everything that's going in. But let's say all the employees are under the understanding that, well, hell, this shit is patented. If you try to take it or whatever, you're going to get sued or whatever, whatnot, So this is the insurance policy for Coca-Cola by putting this into the people's mind so that they won't ever go and try to remake the Coca-Cola, even though they're actually actively dealing with the formula, But nevertheless, if any of those people was to realize, hey man, they really don't have this patented. They just want us to believe that so we don't take it and make our own shit. You see what I'm saying? They don't want to be in competition with us. That's the same thing here. This is why you have these Edomites and things like that coming up and say that, And again, like I said, this is not for them. And, I'm not trying to convert no Edomites or nothing like that, but this is more or less for our people who, come across, certain comment boards and see when these damn Edomites post these things up or their fake ass facts or, shit, I had one person was like, on one of the comments saying something about, basically, I don't know, they was all confused in their shit. Well, actually, they wasn't really confused because they stated it correctly, but they was just confused in their mind. It was like, well, they sold the West Africans, in the slavery, and like Africans sold West Africans into slavery, basically. And I was like, okay, but yeah, the Spain and all of them. Yeah, that would be exactly what we're talking about. You can read about that, real quick. I don't want to get too far off topic. What am I looking for? This is Joel chapter 3. I'm going to start at verse, I think 3. It says, Joel 3:3. It says, and they have cast lots for my people, and they have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Yea, what do you have to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense unto your own head. Why? Because you have taken my silver and my gold and carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians that you might be removed far from their borders. All right. So when you read this, all right, verse 6 is telling you the receipt. This is the receipt of the purchase. All right. The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians. So the Grecians, the Edomites, all right, they were the ones who, they were the ones that received the stolen goods. All right. So they were the recipients of the stolen goods would have been the slaves. Okay. Now, and it says, when we talk about, what do you have to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? All right. These talking about these damn Africans, these Hamites. All right. Yeah. The Hamites rounded us up. All right. Sold us, they rounded us up. Then you had, well, first of all, Slocky, you had the Arabs. All right. And it's what they call the sub-Saharan slave trade. This was before the transatlantic slave trade. All right. First of all, let's go all the way back. 70 AD, right? We wound up leaving up out of Jerusalem. Most of us fled into Africa, hiding from the so-called white man who would have been the Romans. All right. We hid from them just like how YAHAWASHI hid from these Edomites and went basically into Africa. All right. Well, YAHAWASHI went to Egypt, which is in Africa. All right. But we did the same thing. All right. Now we started out, if you look at a map, Israel is basically, you know, beside Egypt, right? Egypt is on the far easternmost part, more or less to say, of Africa, more or less to say top eastern part. All right. But nevertheless, how do we get from that side to the west coast of Africa? All right. Because that's where we was taking on the slave ships in like Cameroon, Benin, and all those places like that. All right. We was taken from that side. All right. When you go into history, you have these what do you call them? The Arabs and the sub-Saharan slave trade that took us from one side of Africa to the other side. And then from there, the Africans rounded us up and gave us over to the damn so-called white man. All right. So, like I said, homegirls is or whoever it was in the comment, you know, they lack understanding, you know, and they spewing these things out. And like I said, well, like she said, oh, well, they sold West Africans, to basically, I think she said Spaniards or something like that, Europeans or something like that. Which at that point in time still would have been, well, coming into that time would have been, the Edomites. All right. The Edomites wasn't up in charge in Europe for that long. They actually didn't get into, the power into Europe, fully into after what? The 1600s, matter of fact. All right. Cause King James, all right, who translated the Bible as a so-called black man. He was still ruling over there. All right. But nevertheless, this is what happened. All right. This is our history. All right. But because you don't have understanding and you don't know these things, you happen to spew all these things out. And I understand the tactic that you're using. All right. Again, this isn't for them. Those people whose minds are all way out like that. And like my thought process to them is like, why the fuck, if you don't believe this, why are you even watching something on this? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not into sports. So I'm not sitting here watching football, baseball, and basketball highlights. You see what I'm saying? Not to say that, oh, well, you going to hell if you do or whatever. That's just not what I'm into. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not sitting here watching this, and that. And I'm like, man, look at these motherfuckers over here throwing around a ball that's made out of pig skin. This is some bullshit. You see what I'm saying? No, I'm not doing that. I'm just like, you know, that's not even on my radar. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, these people are put out here to more or less to rock our people back to sleep. All right. Because they're starting to notice a lot of people are starting to wake up. All right. And I've been noticing on my comments and things like that, hey, these agents, they're actual agents. These people have jobs to do these types of things. All right. It's the same thing as when you look at, what do you call not an agent provocateur, but they, damn, I can't think of the word now, but they pretty much, stage certain things, more or less to say, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, these people are paid agents, paid to do these things. All right. They're trying to persuade the narrative. All right. They can't just come out and face us face to face. You know, Donald Trump's not going to get on the news and say, hey, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you're not Israelites. Let it go. Let's move on. They're not going to say that. All right. But nevertheless, let's get back to this here topic. All right. So dealing with, how do you say, Esau, Edom, and then also Babylon. It's the same people. All right. So let's get a couple scriptures. I'm just, you know, kind of just flowing through the spirit right now. Just going to grab a couple scriptures that come to mind that pretty much link up. It's saying the same thing, but it's just got a different name in there. All right. So we're going to start here in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6. 6 and 7. All right. It says, then answered I and said, what shall be the pardon asunder of times? Or when shall the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? All right. So when is the end of the world? Basically, that's the question that's being asked here. All right. When is the end of the world coming? Like as that's how we say it, the end of the world, right? Knowing, well, we know that the planet is going to abide forever. All right. And the earth was created to be inhabited. So for a sense, we're going to always be here. All right. But nevertheless, when they talk about when the world going to end, it's more or less like saying, when is this society going to end? When is this kingdom? When is this time frame going to end? When, you know, the rulership of the so-called white man, when is this going to end? Or let's take out the rulership of the white man for this point in being. But when is this time frame that we ain't going to end? You know, they had the Bronze Age, the Silver Age, all these different ages. When are these ages going to end? You see what I'm saying? When is this time frame going to end? Or like back in the old days, when is it going to end when we stop living by, you know, light by fire and horse and drawn carriages till we go into the future where we got electricity and vehicles? You know, that world ended. We not riding around in horse and carriages for necessity of transportation. All right. We're not using fire for light for necessity. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, when is the so-called, when is this time frame that we living in going to be an end, come to an end? All right. Now, in a deeper sense, you got to understand that the nation of Israel, all right, going back to Deuteronomy 28, started verse 15 on down, we're up under those curses because why? We broke the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. That's what happened to us. So we have to face out our punishment, you know, just like you as a little kid, you know, you doing some shit at the house and your parents, right? They put you on punishment, you know. Hey, little Jimmy, go in your room, sit in there and be quiet, think about what you done did. You got to be in there for about an hour, right? Now, 50 minutes then went by. You see what I'm saying? Now you about to come up out of this here punishment. It's not for a long time. You about to come up out of it. And that's where we at now, you know. We at the 55 or we damn near at the 58-minute mark of an hour-long punishment. You know what I'm saying? As an analogy, you know. But nevertheless, this is the time frame that we in where this here world is starting to end, all right? And a new world is starting to come up. Now, if you just look at that at in a carnal sense, look around in the world and the society and things that's going on right now in the world, you know. The world and the way that the world is going right now, it cannot sustain itself much longer the way it is, you know. First of all, massive debts, massive debts, all right, which is created for a certain reason to keep hitting a reset. Every time they reset, they wipe the slate clean and start back over. Just imagine it this way. If you can go in and get as many credit cards as you want, right, and just keep maxing them out, never make no payments, you know what I'm saying? And they're like, all right, look, if you don't make a payment by this date, you're going to be overdue. Now, after your overdue day, if you don't make a payment for 6 months, we'll just wipe all your credit clean. What do you think people would be doing? They would just be going out, maxing out credit cards, not pay the bills for 30 days, then wait for the 6 months to go by. Then all that debt would be over with. They still have all the things that they didn't bought. Let's say they went out and bought cars, clothes, houses, all kind of different things. It's like, all right, well, shit, every 6 months, we're going to go and re-up. They're going to just wipe the slate clean. They're going to keep doing that and keep getting more and more. This is what these, what was basically going on when you come to, this debt that they have going on. All right. They keep bringing out more and more debt to keep wiping the slate clean and starting over, but keeping the resources or the things that they've already, so-called, gained. All right. But nevertheless, you look around the world, man, we at the brink of things. All right. When it comes to peace and things like that and weapons and war and all that, man, we at the brink of things. We about to spill out into a World War III. All right. You don't get into a World War III because everything is fine and dandy or you got other options. You only get to a time like that when you've exhausted all of your options. All right. So clearly looking around, we at this time frame now where we at the damn end of the world. You got GMOs, you got chemtrails, you got all kind of bullshit. All right. Everybody minds is defiled. This is the end of the end. All right. So if you're looking around, you could tell that, look, man, we can't, it's like you driving, you know, in a car. Right. And, you know, you got your gas light come on, you on the highway and you got your gas light come on. You're like, all right, well, it's only going to be a certain amount of time before we run out of gas. Now, the gas light has been on for about 20, 30 minutes now and the shit's all the way up under the line. You're like, well, we still riding as of now, but I don't know how much more longer. You know, the gas light's already on. It's already say 0 miles to empty on the car and you need gas now, right? You've already been at the 0 miles, you know, till empty for about 5 minutes now, but your car's still running. But you know, eventually it's about to cut off. You don't have much longer before it cuts off. And that's where we at now. All right. So going back to the scripture, it says, then answered I and said, what shall be the part and asunder of times, or when shall the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? So that's the question being asked. And he answered unto me, saying, from Abraham unto Isaac, all right, when Jacob and Esau were born of him. All right. This was the start of this time clock. All right. When Jacob and Esau was first born, because these are the two main characters of the whole movie. All right. It's just like when you're watching the movie The Batman, right? You can pretty much gauge when the end of the movie, let's say The Dark Knight, right? The one with the Joker, right? You can gauge and tell when the end of the movie is going to come by looking at what? When you find out that the Joker is the main villain, right? When you see him basically going down and I don't forget how he wound up getting caught or whatever happened to him. But nevertheless, you know, I'm just using this as an analogy. Once you start seeing him losing the fight in the battle or he get killed, you know that them credits is about to start rolling soon after. Be like, well, shit, that was the main enemy of the movie. He's taken out of power. So now what? This is the end of it. All right. But when you first turn the movie on and you first introduce into the Batman, you know, well, okay, he the main character of the movie. But then now you got the introduction to the Joker. Okay, so now the time clock has started because I know at the end of this movie, you know, the good guy's going to prevail over the bad guy. That's just how they have the movie set up. So when you see the bad guy start getting weak and he start falling, you know, it's the end time. This is the time frame. All right. So it says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau was born of him. All right. That's just like watching the Batman movie. When you first got introduced to Batman and the Joker. All right. And they meet each other. This is now the time clock has started ticking. All right. They met each other. They realize they don't like each other. Now they're going to go down to a path to try to destroy each other. All right. And when you see one of them getting weak, that's when you know the end is about to come. So it says, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, All right. So that was the beginning of this here time clock. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So like I said, that the planet Earth is going to be here forever. We're going to be on this planet Earth forever. All right. But nevertheless, when you talk about the rulership of this world and the time frame that we living in, all right, this is all coming to an end right now. This is this, like how we would say, the end of the world. The end of the world as you know it. All right. This is all coming to an end. Like they said, the Mayans said the end of the world was coming in 2012. Yeah, the end of the world did end in 2012. The world ended in 2000 as well, you know, because you had a year 1999 and 2000 and so on and so forth. Well, you know, you're like, well, how did the world end and we still here? If let's say you're about like 30 years old, right? I'm around that age, right? I can remember back in the days before 2001 happened. You know, I can remember the year 2000 and on back into the 90s and everything going on back in those days, all right? If you can remember those days back there in the mid to early 90s and things like that, you remember what life was like, all right? You remember as a kid, you would see kids going outside, playing in the yard and so on and so forth, riding bikes, and everything was all right. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to worry about mass killers, school shootings and things and shit like that popping off. And none of these types of things, terrorists and all that kind of stuff. You didn't have to worry about no shit like that. You didn't have all these wars, endless wars. Well, you did have endless wars going on, but you didn't have them like they are now. All right. But what happened? The year 2000, that was the end of that so-called world, right? And then 2001 come around. September 11th, 2001 come around. Guess what? That lifestyle and the way you was living, all that ended back then. All right. Now you into a whole nother lifestyle and shit. Back in 2012, I don't know if you can remember what life was like back then, but now you have what the creation of what ISIS and these so-called rogue terrorists running around everywhere. And all they got to say is there's some terrorists over there. We got to go blow up the whole country now. Now we into a time frame where we just going to open regime change. All right. We're no longer worried about these little terrorists. We worried about big countries. All right. So as you can see, the world that we was living in, this is not the same world as 1995, 1994. You ain't doing it and dealing in the same things. People ain't walking around outside feeling the same way that they was feeling back in those days. All right. Because wow, there's a lot more dangerous things going on now. Hell, back in those days, you didn't really have the internet like you have now. We wasn't walking around with these smartphones like we are now. So that world, the world of remembering people's phone numbers and remembering people's addresses by heart and stuff like that and all of that stuff, man, all that's out the door. You ain't coming back to that. Now you got these smartphones. So that world has ended. All right. Same with this here world that we living in now with Esau ruling in this wickedness and all this bullshit that we got going on. All of this is coming to an end. All right. With Esau. All right. So he's going to be at the end of the world. All right. Let me go back up to that. It says, 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 8. It says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau was born of him, Jacob's hand held first the hill of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right. When is the kingdom of heaven going to come? Lord, are you now come to restore the kingdom unto Israel? All right. That's when they talking about. That's the new world that they talking about in the Bible. Not, these Edomites and them and their new world order, but in the scriptures, when they talking about the kingdom of heaven coming and, with this new world coming, that's talking about when, Esau's out of power and the Israelites under YAHAWASHI are in power and what they call the kingdom of heaven. All right. Rulership and reigning in righteousness. All right. So that time hadn't come yet. All right. But when is the beginning of that time going to happen? Well, the beginning of that time happens, put it this way, in the so-called carnal terms. You know how people like to say, when the devil stop ruling, then the Lord's going to take over and start ruling. But right now we got the devil in charge. All right. So when is the devil going to come out of his power seat, or when is the devil going to stop ruling? Well, when he's getting taken out and the Lord is risen back up, or the Lord raised up the nation of Israel. All right. And put them in their rightful state. All right. So keep that in mind when you hear about Esau being the end of the world. All right. So we're going to go to where do I want to go first? Like I said, this here lesson is just all through the spirit. I'm just going to grab some scriptures here and there, scriptures I can think of off the top of my head that pair into one another. But the point I wanted to grab there was that Esau is going to be the end of the world. All right. The Edomites. All right. Let's separate Esau from the so-called white man for a time being. All right. Let's just say Esau is one person. The so-called white man is another person, and Babylon is another person. All right. For this here time's sake being now. But by the end of it all, we're going to show you that all three of these people are the same people. Okay. So it says Esau is going to be the end of the world. Esau is going to be in rulership at the end of the world when the Lord come back. I.e., you compare that with who is the Lord going to be fighting when he come back? The Edomites, because Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And the Lord's going to raise up Jacob and put Jacob in charge. All right. The Israelites in charge. And so that means he's got to take is same way. He got to take the damn devil out. All right. The so-called, Edom, the so-called Edom, who is the Edomites. All right. So, let me start here in Jeremiah, because when you go through a couple of these books, you know, I'm not gonna go and read all these chapters, but you can do it on your own time, right? I'll give you some chapters to look into. Read Jeremiah 49, Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51, Isaiah 47, Ezekiel 35, the book of Obadiah, Revelation 17, and Revelation 18. All right. Now, all of these books is pretty much all talking about the same thing. The only real difference between them is one of them will say either Esau or Edom. The other one will say Babylon or the daughters of the Chaldees. But they have the same descriptions on the insides of them. All right. And we're going to just pull a couple scriptures and we're going to compare a couple of these scriptures. All right. So this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50. Now, in this here book is written to what? Let me see. Jeremiah 51, the word that Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldees by Jeremiah the prophet. All right. So the Chaldees, Babylonians, and Babylon, all the same people, right? Just, you know, we're going to just keep it cut and short, right? It says, let me go down. This is, I'll start at verse 10, Jeremiah 50 and 10. And Chaldea, or the Chaldeans, or the Babylonians, all right, shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, said Yahweh, all right? Because you were glad. Now, Babylon is being spoiled, all right? And this is the reason why Babylon is being spoiled. It says, because you were glad, because you rejoice, O ye destroyers of my heritage, because you are grown fat as a heifer, and as the grass as bellows of bulls, all right? So it says, because you were glad, because you were glad, and because you rejoice, O destroyers of my heritage. So the Babylonians or the Chaldeans, Babylon is a destroyer of the Most High's heritage. All right. Who's the Most High's heritage, inheritance? All right. Jacob is a lot of his inheritance. All right. The Israelites. All right. So it says here that Babylon is the one that destroyed the Israelites. All right. Babylon will have the Israelites in captivity. All right. So now you have to think. Now, I believe Jeremiah was actually in Babylon at the point in time when he was writing this, right? But nevertheless, that Babylon, all right, now when you're reading all of this, let me see, verse 14. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she have sinned against Yahweh. All right, so when you especially in all the chapters that we're going to go into, you'll read about the destruction of what? Babylon, right? Now, Babylon, when Jeremiah was around and all those times like that, that Babylon was not destroyed. All right. The Medo-Persians pretty much just rolled up in there and just took the kingdom. You see what I'm saying? They really didn't even fight for that. All right. When you go back and you read about the writing on the wall, all right, where you're talking about this night your kingdom is taken. All right. That was pretty much, that's pretty much what happened to Babylon. All right. Babylon didn't fall, didn't get destroyed with a bunch of archers shooting bow and arrows in those points in times. But nevertheless, those arrows aren't talking about bow and arrows. It's talking about what? Thermonuclear missiles. All right. So we know that this is not the same Babylon. All right. So when you go into talking about which Babylon destroyed the Lord's people, it would have been Babylon, this Babylon that we in now, Babylon the Great. I believe that Babylon back there, we was only in captivity there for 70 years. You see what I'm saying? So like you could literally have been born, all right, and lived, you know, as like, how do you say, not in captivity to Babylon, and then also out of the captivity of Babylon, which you would have been in Medo-Persia, but still you would have been alive in the whole time frame that your people was in captivity in Babylon from the beginning to the end. All right. That's not what that was talking about. All right. This Babylon here is talking about Babylon the Great. All right. So let me go back up to Jeremiah 50 and 11. It says, because you were glad, because you rejoiced, O ye destroyers of my heritage, because you are grown fat as the heifer at grass and bellows of bulls. Let me think. I think that's the book of Obadiah. For thy violence against thy brother. Yep. So this is Obadiah 1 and 10. It says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. Thou shalt be cut off forever. And the day thou stoodest on the other side, and the day the strangers carried away captives his forces, and foreigners entered into the gates, thou cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was one of them. Thou should not have looked on the day of thy brother and the day he became a stranger. Neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither should thou have spoken proudly in the day of the distress. Thou should not have entered in the gate of my people in the day of their calamities. Yea, thou should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamities, nor lay a hand on their substance. in the day of their calamities. Neither should thou have stood in the crossways to cut off those that did escape. Neither should thou have delivered up those that did remain in the day of the distress. All right. So, we're going to read this here again later on. Let me just continue on. For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen, as it has been done, so it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall be upon thy own head, for as you have drunk of my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink. Yea, they shall drink continually, they shall swallow down, and they shall be as not if they have been. So they're talking about drinking of this here cup, right? Now, you can follow this here cup in the scriptures, all right? Now, basically, now here is talking about, let me see, Esau Edom, in this here book, right? So let me go back up to that precept where it says, damn, I want to go back one, but verse 15, for the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen, for thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall be upon thy own head. For if you have drunk of my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as not they have been. Let me try to find this other scripture. Salaki, give me 1 second. I was talking about that there. Okay. But I wanted to get in there where he's talking about that. Hang on 1 second. Let me go up real quick. I have to grab it somewhere else. Oh, here we go. Let me see. What says it a little better somewhere else? Let me read this though. Revelation 18 verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of the fornications, like we just read, and the kings of the earth have committed fornications, and her merchants of the earth are waxed through the abundance of her delicacies. Now this is talking about Babylon. We was just reading about Esau, which is you reading the same thing, but they just calling it by a different name. All right. That's just like here in America. You'd be like, well, look, let's say if I was Vladimir Putin, right? You'd be like, all right, you Americans is keep putting your militaries up against our borders. You Americans is doing this and that. All right, you Americans, y'all gonna get thermonuclear missiles if y'all don't quit tripping. All right, Donald Trump, if y'all don't quit doing this, Donald Trump, y'all putting y'all military over here. Donald Trump, so on and so forth. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing, man. You talking about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a representation of who? America. All right. The king of America, more or less to say at this point in time. All right. Same when we talking about Americans, you Americans doing this and that. Well, look, me, you and him and her. All right. We not putting we don't got no military to put nowhere. Who they talking about? They talking about this whole governing body and how do you say the so-called rulers of this here place. All right. So again, this is talking about the same thing between Babylon and Edom. Their stories are intertwined together. And another thing, we was reading that Esau is the end of the earth, the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow. What is the last kingdom on the planet Earth that's going to be ruling before the Lord come back? All right. It's going to be Babylon the Great, Mystery Babylon. So who going to be ruling at the end time? The Lord's not going to be coming back at two different times to fight two different end time people. All right. The Edomites at the end time before he set up Jacob, and then come back, and then Babylon's going to raise up. Then he got to take Babylon the Great out and then set Jacob up. No. Esau, Edom, and Babylon gonna fall at the same time because they're the same people. All right. So it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornications, and the kings of the earth have committed fornications with her. The merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. I've heard a voice from the heavens say, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sin, that you receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Reward her, even as she rewarded you, double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she had filled to her double. So talking about, let me see. Going back to what Obadiah, talking about filling this here cup, right? They're going to be drinking, they're going to drink it all the way down because of why? They was rejoicing over the downfall of the Israelites, all right? Obadiah 1:15, for the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen, as thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head. All right, so all the things that Babylon has did, you're going to reward her double for all she's done unto you. It's the same thing, right? We reading the same thing, but what? This is talking about Edom and Obadiah, but what we was just reading in Revelations is talking about Babylon the Great. Why? Babylon the Great is not a people, first and foremost. It's a place. Like America is not a people, right? You got the Americans who live in America. Right? Babylon is more or less just the place. The Edomites or the Chaldees, these are the people that live in Babylon, or Babylonians. You could say it, Babylonians, Chaldees, the Edomites. You see what I'm saying? The Edomites in the land of Edom. You see what I'm saying? That would be how you would say the people that dwell into a certain landmass. All right. It's the same deal. All right. One of them is talking about calling the people about the landmass. Oh, yeah, America, or put it this way, Russia gonna nuke America, right? Or Russia about to go to war with the Americans. It's the same thing. The Americans and America in that sense would be the same thing. If Russia would say, yeah, we about to nuke America, right? Like saying, look, the Lord is about to destroy Babylon. All right. Or Russia is about to nuke the Americans. Or the Lord is about to destroy the Edomites. You see what I'm saying? In Babylon. You see, well, they're going to destroy all the Edomites everywhere. But nevertheless, verse 16, it says, for you have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as they had not been. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing. Talking about reward her double, and then fill into she's gonna drink the cup of the wrath of the Most High. All right, this is all the same thing. Let me think. That's Lamentation 4. Yep, this is Lamentation 4 and 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughters of Zion. So what? Daughters of Zion is who? The Israelites, right? What is the punishment of their iniquity? For going off and breaking the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, we up under the curses in Deuteronomy 28, verse 15 to 68. But the Lord here is saying, look, your punishment is about up. I put you in punishment in your room for an hour. You know, it's been 58 minutes going on, and now I'm about to come knock on your door, ask you, all right, did you learn from what you was doing wrong? You're not going to do that no more, right? After we get done with this here conversation, you can come up out your room. That's where we at right now. So it says, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. So this is the last captivity that the Israelites is going to be under. The last people that's going to have the Israelites in captivity will be the Edomites. All right. Then the Lord is going to destroy the Edomites and save and deliver the Israelites from the hand of Esau Edom. All right. As said here in the scriptures. All right. But then at the same time, all right, like I said, let's talk about this. The so-called white man is one person, or so-called Edom is one person. Babylon is one person, right? It don't make no fucking sense how the Lord is going to come do. He says, the punishment of that iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit the iniquity of the daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. All right. So what? The Lord is about to come and judge Edom for taking the Israelites into captivity. Right. But then again, the Lord is coming back to cast judgment on Babylon for taking the children of Israel into captivity. But wait, Esau Edom is going to be having children of Israel in captivity and reigning over them. Mainly the main head over top of Israel. All right, at the end of time. But wait a minute, the Babylonians and Babylon was going to have the Israelites up under their captivity and be the main one that the Lord's going to fight with. This is all confusion. It's only confusion to those who can't see and put things together, man. Esau Edom will be dwelling in mystery Babylon, the great whore of the great whore. You see what I'm saying? That's Esau Edom. All right, now we can go through this on a whole other levels and different precepts and things like that, talking about it. But I just want to focus in on at the end time when the Lord come back. Who he gonna be dealing with? Who's gonna be the person in charge of the Lord gonna have to speak with when he come back? All right. At the end time, it's gonna be what? Babylon the Great, right? As you read in Revelation 17 and 18. All right. Also, as we read in here in Lamentations, you can also read it in the book of Obadiah, the book of Ezekiel 25, 35. You can read it all over that. At the end time, the Lord is gonna come back and judge Esau Edom. All right. These are all the same people. All right. Now, again, let's think of it this way. All right. Now, talking about all these different places in Babylon and all these atrocities and everything going on and so on and so forth. And you got these damn fake ass Christians and everybody talking about something. The Lord is coming back soon. The Lord is coming back soon. Or the Lord is coming back soon. They all talking about the Lord is finna come back soon and everything. But these stupid motherfuckers don't realize that Babylon the Great is already sitting on, like, Babylon the Great is here right now. These same people that's talking about that's running in the scary time about the Lord is coming back real soon. Get your house together. The Lord coming back now. Let me not get this twisted. We saying the same shit, but we actually know what's going on. We see the signs and everything like that. And he only coming back to deliver his elect. Like the scriptures say, those that say, the day of the Lord, the day of the Lord, want to thee for what good is it for you? You're going to be destroyed. You see what I'm saying? But these people over here talking about this and they don't even realize how you talking about the Lord coming back, but you can't even, accurately identify Babylon the Great that's in the book of Revelations. All right. And you can't even identify in the scriptures where they talk about America. Yet, you know, living in America is like the worst kingdom on the whole planet Earth and all of history. You know, that's the worst place, the worst kingdom that did the worst shit on all the planet Earth. But yet and still, you can't find that nowhere in the Bible. All right. And yet and still, you can't find nowhere in the real world Babylon the Great in the kingdom that they talking about. All right. You still were thinking that this some kind of devil gonna come up out the ground and set up this new demonic ass kingdom or some shit like that. This shit's already happened, man. It's a so-called white man. All right. These so-called white men, these Americans over here, Esau, who is Esau Edom. All right. Babylon, the great mystery Babylon is America. All right. And all these here scriptures is saying the same thing. Let me just get back into these scriptures real quick. Let me go back over to the book of Jeremiah 50, or let me go into, like I said, Jeremiah 49, 50, 51, Obadiah, Ezekiel 25, 35, Isaiah 47, Revelation 17, 18. It's all saying the same deal. All right. So it says here, let me see. Let me just grab a couple lines out of here. Oh, shit. This is Jeremiah 51 and 24. I will render unto Babylon. Remember, keyword Babylon. The Most High is going to pay Babylon and all the inhabitants of Chaldea, which is the people of it. It's like, I'm going to render unto America and all the inhabitants of, and all the Americans. You know, I'm about to cast judgment on America and all the Americans, more or less. That's pretty much what they're saying. I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea and all the evil that they have done in Zion and your sight, saith Yahweh. So, the Most High is going to pay Babylon back for all the things they did to the children of Israel. All right. And again, that didn't happen back in those old days like that. All right. Babylon in those days was taken pretty much without a war. All right. The Lord is talking about bringing down his judgment. The day of the Lord is going to happen upon what? Babylon. He's going to come and destroy Babylon off the earth. Where when you read in Revelation 18, all the merchant cities, they was all standing far off, welling for the smoke that's rising up for all the thermonuclear missiles that's going off over there. Back when, who was it? I think it was, Darius. It's either, Darius or Darius, however you want to pronounce his name, or, Cyrus. I think it was Darius. One of them, wound up taking down, the Babylonians. You know, they wound up walking up into, Babylon and taking that kingdom. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, this here Babylon is going to not be inhabited ever again. All right. And all these different things. All right. So this is the Babylon here in America that the Lord is talking about destroying. It says, I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea and all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith Yahweh. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith Yahweh. Now, when it's talking about mountains, it's pretty much talking about governmental bodies or pretty much a group of people. You know what I'm saying? A nation of people, more or less to say. All right. Like when you go into politics, they have a summit meeting, you know, the G20 summit meeting. All right. The summit is the top or peak of a mountain, the head of a nation, more or less to say, the governing body. All right. Just like let's just say the Americans here in America, right? It's way more Americans in America than they are politicians in, like, let's say the White House, Congress, and so on and so forth. You know, that's pretty much the peak of, all of America, more or less to say. They're the ones that's making all the decisions for everybody else is going to trickle down. You know, if Donald Trump say, look, we're going to do this today, that means that's what's going to roll down. You know, that's the top of the summit, the peak of the mountain. All right. So when it says I'm against thee, O destroying mountain, it's not talking about a mountain range like the Himalayan mountains, the Appalachian mountains. It's talking about a group of people. It says, behold, I'm against thee, O destroying mountain, saith Yahweh, which destroyeth all the earth. And I will stretch out my hand upon thee, and I will roll thee down from the rocks, and I will make thee a burnt mountain. All right. So it says, I'm against thee, O destroying mountain. Then it also says, I will render unto Babylon, and all the inhabitants of Chaldea and the evil that was done in your sight. So let's go into this, I'm against thee, O destroying mountains. That's how Ezekiel 35 starts out. Okay. Ezekiel 35, I'm going to just start at verse 2. It says, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and will stretch out my hand against thee, and make thee most desolate. All right. And I believe it does say in here as well, too, O destroying mountain. Give me 1 second. Oh shit, you can read from verse 11 and 12 when he's talking about them. I love that too. Nevertheless, well shit, I was going to get into this here definition. If you don't know what Mount Seir is, all right, let me go down to the last verse. as thou did rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, which we just read. All right. Because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee, and thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir. All right. There's that Mount Seir again, and all Idumea. Right. Now let's go into what these words Mount Seir and Idumea is talking about. All right. So, well, see, if you can see there, it says all Idumea, even all of it. Idumea means Edom. Let's just go in there first. Idumea, which is a Greek way of saying Edom. All right. So it says Edom, bread, Idumea. Trying to see if they pull out Seir in here as well. All right. So now let's go back to that again and look up Mount Seir. Okay, it says down here, proper noun reference for territory. It says the land of Edom, south of the Dead Sea. So this is talking about Edom, Esau, Edom, the same people. All right. Oh, there it is again. It says a mountain range of Idumea, and it's aboriginal occupants. So it's talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man as well too. All right. So Mount Seir, or Idumea, or Edom, is that destroying mountain, all right, like we just read about, all right, and Babylon, you old destroying mountain, all right. Let me go to this Jeremiah 51 and let me see. I want to read 53, but I think, hang on one second. I'll just read verse 53. Like I said, if you read all these chapters, Jeremiah 49, 50, 51, Ezekiel 35, Ezekiel 25, Revelation 17 to 18, these are all Obadiah. They're all saying the same thing. You'll just see the names interchanged between Babylon and Edom. So I'm going to just read verse 53 here. It says, though Babylon should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the heights of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, saith Yahawah. So as though she should mount up to heaven, all right? And let me see. There was another verse here. Nevertheless, we're going to go grab that in the book of Obadiah. As thou shalt mount up to heaven, the pride of thy heart has deceived thee. All right? Verse 3, the pride of thy heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in thy heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Damn, hold on. Because there's another precept. I'll try to look for it later where it says, I thought it was right there as well too. But nevertheless, it says, the part of thy heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahawah. All right. So that's the same thing that we just read over there. Let me read this as well too. It says, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they have not stolen until they had enough? If grape gatherers came to thee, would they have not had enough grapes? All right. Let me go back over to Jeremiah 51. I thought that was in there as well too, where it says, exalt thyself as the eagle. It might be verse 51. Give me 1 second. Let me, what was that? Hang on 1 second. Let me look up a precept. Might be in the same chapter. This is exactly the same thing as what we just read in Obadiah. Jeremiah 49. All right. Let me just get back to that real quick. Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah 50 and verse 53 again. Oh, Salakia. Here's another one. As verse 40, as the most high overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, saith Yahweh, shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. But let me go back up a little bit. Like I said, all of these are saying the same thing. I'm getting a little confused of where I was reading this at. I was in the wrong book, actually. Jeremiah 51 and 53. It says, though Babylon should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the heights of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, saith Yahweh. So Jeremiah 49, there's that grape gatherers again. Man, see what I mean? Jeremiah 50. I know I'm a little bit all over the place right now, but give me 1 second. All right, so we're going to keep in mind that other precept, but Jeremiah 50 and 40, as the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof. All right, we just read that. So Jeremiah 51, I can't even remember where all these are at. Then I want to go to Jeremiah 49. Salaki, I probably should have written some of these here down. Let me just get to my point. But like I said, if you was to print all these three out, you could sit here and cross-reference each of these scriptures. All right. This is Jeremiah 49 and verse 9. If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, would they destroy till they had enough? Now this is talking about Esau. Again, now, I believe in the book of Obadiah, you can read the same thing, which is talking about Esau, and then we just read this in Jeremiah, I believe, 51. All right, but nevertheless, where it says they was going to mount up his wings, all right? Here it is again in verse 18. As the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, no man should dwell therein. This one as well, too. Jeremiah 49 and 20. It says, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord, thus saith that he have taken against Edom in his purpose, that he's purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. All right. Let me touch on that real quick. Do it the easier way. Boom. So here it says, here we go. I could have just pulled this here out right here to prove my point. All right. So, cause I got kind of confused about which book was in which book and who was saying what and what, but here's a clear reference. All right. Jeremiah 49 and 20. Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that he have taken against Edom and his purpose that he purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make his habitation desolate. Jeremiah 50 and 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh that he have taken against Babylon. So this is the same thing they're saying, but now it's against Babylon. And his purpose that he's purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. So it's, again, like I'm saying, between the book of Jeremiah 49, 50, 51, Isaiah 47, Ezekiel 35, Ezekiel 25, Revelation 17, and Revelation 18. When you cross compare these scriptures, all right, you'll wind up you'll notice that they all line up the same thing, same way. Hang on, let's see. This is the one I was looking for. Jeremiah 49 and 16. It says, thy terribleness have deceived thee, thou, and the pride of thy heart. Salakia, thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart. O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, that holdest the heights of the hill. Though he should make his nest as high as the eagle, I will bring him down, saith Yahawah. Also, Edom shall be a desolate, and go on and so on and so forth. Same thing, right? We read the same thing. Let me start at verse 15. For lo, let me start at verse 14. For I've heard a rumor from Yahawah, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen, saying, gather ye together, come up against her, and raise up to battle. Right? So when you go to, I believe that's the book of Joel. Let me not forget where I'm at. Jeremiah 49. When you go to Joel chapter 3, verse 2. All right. No, this isn't it, where it says I have an ambassador is sent. We're still dealing with the same thing, you know. It's all going into the same thing. And here again, you see Edom is mentioned down here. All right. Going back to Jeremiah 49. Damn. Like I said, there's a lot in here. All right. There's that cup again, verse 12. For thus saith Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have surely drunken, and art thou he that altogether should go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. All right. Again, talking about Esau Edom, just like in Revelation, as she filled unto her double. All right. But going down to, where is it, verse 16? It says, thy terribleness have deceived thee, and all thy pride of thy heart, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill. Though thou shalt make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith Yahawah. You know exactly where that's at in the book of Obadiah. Obadiah 1 and 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, but thou art greatly despised. The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down? All right. So again, when you're reading about like Babylon, I shall sit as a widow, and I shall see or I shall sit as a queen, and shall be no widow, and shall see no loss of children. When you put all these scriptures together, you know, like the scriptures say, do that diligent, you know, search, do a diligent search, you know, make that calling an election sure. You know, you got to go through these scriptures and read precept upon precept, line upon line. And more importantly, you got to have the spirit and the power of YAHAWASHI to be able to reveal these things unto you. All right. Like the scriptures say, blessed are your eyes which see the things that you see, and hear the things that you hear. All right. Because many kings, and princes, desire to see these things. All right. But they don't see these things, but you see these things. All right. For the common man, and your grandma and everybody else is going through church, first of all, they're not even reading these here chapters in these books, right? But if you did, you would have the breakdown of Revelations. Revelations is broken down, you know, throughout, you know how if you was to look at the Bible and look at a lot of the things that's going on, it's like, yo, the book of Revelations is broken down throughout multiple books, from the book of starting, like, not to say starting, but from the book of Daniel, the book of Jeremiah, the book of Isaiah, and so on and so forth. Because we're reading about the destruction of Babylon, which is the same destruction that you're going to read about in Revelation. All right. Same with Daniel. In the book of Daniel, the saints going to take the kingdom. All right. What kingdom are they talking about taking from who? They taking the kingdom of that's in position now, which is the kingdom of the Edomites. All right. The Babylonians, we about to take the crowns up off of their heads, and we're going to be reigning. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. I done went on for quite a bit. Like I said, Salaki for, you know, not having this a little bit more in order, but nevertheless, as you can see through these here precepts, and I do encourage you, I'll say it again. All right. Isaiah 47. All right. Which I didn't even grab no precepts in there. What is it? Isaiah 47, Ezekiel 35, Jeremiah 49, Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51, the book of Obadiah, Revelation 17, and Revelation 18. All right. Slakia. Verse, let me read this. I'll close out with this. Verse 7. I'm going to read Isaiah 47 and 7. And thou said, Salakia, not 7. Give me 1 second. Isaiah 47:5. Sit thou silent and get thee in the darkness, O daughters of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt be called no more a lady, the lady of kingdoms. All right. That said, the daughters of Chaldeans sit and get in the darkness. All right. There is no throne. It says, rejoice and be, Lamentation 4:12. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, thou that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunk, and thou shalt make thyself naked. Thy punishment of thy iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity on the daughters of Edom, and he will discover their sins, thy sins. All right. So what? This judgment is coming down on the daughters of Edom, the Edomites, the Babylonians, the Chaldeans. Babylon and Edom, they're the same people, you know, the same people. All right. The Edomites are just inhabiting the land of Babylon at this point in time. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Again, Salakia for being a little bit, here and there. I should have probably wrote down some of these scriptures, but nevertheless, you know, I just wanted to pull those scriptures out and just show forth that, hey, these scriptures are talking about the same people. All right. Babylon, Esau, Edom, they all the same people. All right. And when you see these people on these comment boards, just know that they set up and they agents more or less to say to just to throw you off. All right. Like I said, you watch our videos and things like that. We constantly break down the breakdowns to who these people are. All right. But if you just needed it in a quick little, you know, sit down, like here it is, you know what I'm saying? You could just go through and read through there, all right? But nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and close out and say, Call halal Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, or Chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that ruled well. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect, all right? Until next time, I say, stay strong and shalom.